And come on back. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back with Kurtis Miller in just 5 minutes.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from the Annie E. Casey Foundation, developing solutions to support strong families and communities to help ensure a brighter future for America's children. More information is available at aecf.org.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. President Donald Trump says he is glad the special counsel investigation is over, but wishes it could have wrapped up sooner. NPR's Tamara Keith reports Trump remains critical of the investigation, though not of its conclusions.
Asked by a reporter whether he wants Robert Mueller's complete report released, President Trump said it's up to the Attorney General, but it wouldn't bother him at all. It's clear Trump remains bothered by the process that played out over the past 2 years, saying it was a period of really bad things happening, even treasonous things.
It was a false narrative. It was a terrible thing. We can never let this happen to another president again. I can tell you that. I say it very strongly. Very few people I know could have handled it. We can never, ever let this happen to another president again.
Trump was never explicit about who he blames, but he says they should be looked at. Tamara Keith, NPR News, the White House.
Leading U.S. pediatricians together with the American Heart Association is calling for new policies to reduce kids' consumption of sugary drinks. NPR's Allison Aubrey reports the group endorses new taxes as well as limits on marketing to children.
The biggest source of added sugar in many kids' diets is not what they eat, but what they drink. On average, kids consume 17% of all their calories from added sugars, and about half that comes from drinks. Pediatrician Natalie Muth is the lead author of the American Academy of Pediatrics' new policy statement.
I think parents need to realize that a typical child consumes about 30 gallons of sugary drinks over the course of a year. So that's enough to fill a small bathtub.
Muth says given the links to obesity and type 2 diabetes, policymakers should consider raising the price of sugary drinks. Allison Aubrey, NPR News, Washington.
Lawyer Michael Avenatti, who represented the adult film actress Stormy Daniels in her legal fight against President Trump, has been charged with, among other things, trying to extort upwards of $20 million from athletic company Nike. That's according to federal prosecutors. Jeff Berman is the U.S. attorney in New York, where Avenatti was arrested today.
Avenatti repeatedly pressured the company to agree to pay or risk having Avenatti hold a press conference that he claimed would dramatically drive down the stock price of the company and its market value.
Federal prosecutors in California say Avenatti embezzled a client's money to help pay expenses for his coffee company. He also allegedly used phony tax returns to secure millions in bank loans. Avenatti represented Stormy Daniels in her lawsuit, claiming Trump paid her hush money shortly before the 2016 election to keep quiet about their alleged affair. Stocks bounced around for much of the session today. A mixed close. The Dow was up 14 points. The Nasdaq closed down 5 points today. This is NPR. British Prime Minister Theresa May is acknowledging her already twice rejected plan for the UK's departure from the European Union would probably be defeated again if it were put up for a vote. However, May says she is still working to change the minds of some lawmakers in Parliament and hopes to hold a vote later this week. May also has conceded she may be about to lose control of the process entirely to lawmakers who are pushing for a change in direction. Pro-EU lawmakers have said they plan to try to take control over a series of votes on alternatives to May's deal. Musician Scott Walker has died. Walker was a pop singer in the 60s who shunned stardom and transformed into an avant-garde experimentalist who became a favorite of David Bowie, Brian Eno, and Thom Yorke of Radiohead. NPR's Andrew Limbong explains his label announced he died Friday at the age of 76, but gave few details.
Noel Scott Engel was born in Ohio in 1943. He was originally a session bass player. Then he joined two other musicians, none of them named Walker, to form a trio called the Walker Brothers, who became top 10 favorites in the United Kingdom. He left the group to pursue a solo career where he used his signature croon over music that became increasingly dark and experimental. In announcing his death, his label, 4AD, said he was at, quote, the sharp end of creative music. whose influence on many artists has been freely acknowledged. Andrew Limbong, NPR News.
Crude oil futures prices closed lower. Oil down 22 cents a barrel today to end the session at $58.82 a barrel in New York. I'm Jack Spear, NPR News in Washington.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. My guest tonight is Kurtis Miller, and we are talking about the very infamous, for I was going to say for our schoolhouse, but that's not infamous to me, the Edinburgh Manor in Scotch Grove, Iowa. And he was getting ready to tell us a story about when Ghost Adventures was there. And if anybody was paying attention to reruns last week, or actually, I guess it was this weekend, Edinburgh Manor was on. The rerun was, and we happened to watch it. But go ahead and tell us about what you'd heard about when Ghost Adventures was there.
There's just a lot of different stories that I heard. One of the common questions I actually get is what was actually thrown when Billy Tolly, I believe, was downstairs in the laundry room. And we actually still have the item that was thrown. It was actually a cup. And I mean, that's one of the more common questions we got, but we've gotten all sorts of things. A lot of the questions we got is, what was the crew members like? I mean, and they were there for, I believe it was like 4 days. They were there. A lot of them were actually really, they said fun and kind of cool to hang out with. But they said Zach was kind of off on his own little world or trip or whatever it was, and really didn't want to do anything with anybody really.
Well, there's a lot of theories on that, and I'll tell you from my experience, he's the producer. He's type A personality. He was probably thinking about what he was going to do next. So, but let's see. I'm looking to see. It was in 2015 when that was. Season 11 premiere, if you guys were wondering when that was. So, 2015, Season 11, Episode 1. So, because I met Season 12 or Season 10, Episode 6 was the one I was on. So, it's kind of, sometimes I'm beginning to wonder, is this just like Pamela Anderson? It's just your turn. I don't know, to be on. I don't know. But I know that sounded kind of bad. But it just starts to get that way. But I liked meeting them. It was an experience. Would I do it again? Maybe not. But it was an experience, and I know talking to some other people, they wouldn't do it again because of the fact that they were treated badly, or they were ignored, things like that. Because we have in the chat room, we have a person that was at the Pythian Castle, and she had a really good time with Aaron, and but she doesn't like some of the things that how they do some of their focus, how they focus, but everybody has their own opinion, and I had fun, and I'll tell you that. But I do agree on the focus. So, but all the shows pick a focus. I don't know if you've noticed that, but what shows do you watch on these paranormal shows?
I actually once in a while, if they're on, I'll watch. It's the guys from Tennessee, the Tennessee Rape Chasers. I'll watch them. I do like and I had a chance to meet Nick Groth. I think he's very credible. I do like him. Unfortunately, he left, his show, Paranormal Lockdown.
I don't think that was by choice.
Yeah.
But
the
we
one
don't know.
we're
not there.
Yeah. The one I really enjoy is actually Dead Files.
Mm-hmm.
I'm amazed by Amy Allen, what she can actually come up with.
And the validity?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's amazing.
She is fastly becoming one of my favorite mediums.
Have you seen Ghosts in the Hood?
No, not yet.
I don't know if it's coming back. It was on WeTV, and it was hilarious and good. And I did see that Ghost Brothers is going to be on Travel Channel. They haven't made an official announcement, but I saw it in their sizzle reel on their commercial. I saw Ghost Brothers, so I haven't seen anything official, but Ghost Brothers is coming back. Woohoo! I like them. I like their fun, and their I don't want to say lack of seriousness, but they're gung ho.
Yeah.
They're not burnt out. They're not super skeptical of everything, but they're skeptical enough to not think that everything's paranormal all the time. But yet sometimes everything's paranormal. I mean, I'm not saying that for me. Sometimes on the show, to them, everything's paranormal. So it's just funny.
I
like
do kind of miss Ghost
funny.
Lab.
Oh, I miss Ghost Lab.
I honestly do. I mean, they kind of put a scientific, everything to science on it, to make sure that, it's actually paranormal, or, well, this is what's causing it. And I think they were at the wrong time. I think if they were to come back, I think they'd actually have a bigger success.
Well, the bad part is they've been trying to come back. Brad and Barry have been trying to come back. I met them 10 years ago at McPike Mansion, and they're really unusual people, and I like them a lot. And I just don't know if the real world's ready for the Kling brothers paranormal. The reality of that. I don't know if we're all ready for that. I am. I'm ready for it. You're ready for it. But is everybody? I miss them a lot in the paranormal, and I will never. I watch Ghost Lab every time it comes on. Every rerun, and they tried to make a comeback with with a friend of ours was doing some of their filming. What was it called? Strange Curiosities. If you can find that out there, look up Strange Curiosities. And there's some stuff out there that they did at Ashmore Estates, and I think they did some stuff at the Haunted Art Theater and some other things, and it was excellent. So, and I would hang out with them. I really would. I would hang out with Brad and Barry Kling. They also did the Pythian Castle down in Springfield, Missouri, and Lemp Mansion, a bunch of places that nowadays everybody takes for granted, these places, and they were just hard to get into back then when they were doing it. I love their electronic net. I used to laugh about that, their electronic net. So but again, I still loved every minute of that show. So I know we're going to be coming up on another one. When you first started watching paranormal TV, what was the first show that got you interested? Or was it a show that got you interested? What actually got you interested?
what really got me interested was actually when I was younger. I want to say when I was 11 or 12 years old, and